Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Canadian Profits TV. My name is Dave Dubeau. I'm your host, and this is episode 99. Wow, 99 episodes. What are we going to talk about this week? Well, for our business breakthrough, we're going to be remembering why we got into business for ourselves in the first place. For our real estate tip, I'm going to share with you an example of truly massive action live. And for our Mindset Minute, we're going to talk about keeping it all a perspective. Stay tuned. All right, so for our business breakthrough, I want to talk about why you and I, as entrepreneurs and real estate investors, got into business for ourselves in the first place versus doing the traditional route of just getting a job. And sometimes we lose track of this. I know I do. But the real reason we got into business for ourselves in the first place was to create freedom, personal freedom. We want to be our own bosses, do what we want, when we want, how we want to do it. Now, reality comes in, and quite often we forget that in the day-to-day of the drudgery of trying to make a living. But I'm going to challenge you right now to just kind of step back and remember why you got into business for yourself in the first place. An example I have of this was an early mentor of mine when I had my language training company down in Costa Rica. This gentleman is a Canadian who made his money in Canada after many ups and downs. He's a self-made millionaire, and he went broke a couple of times trying to do it, but he finally did it. Went down to Costa Rica, thought he was going to kick back and retire and live the life of leisure. He did that for about 3 months, and being entrepreneurial went completely up the wall. He couldn't stand it. He couldn't do any more golf. He didn't want to golf that much anymore. He couldn't stand just hanging around the pool, going to the beach. He needed to get active. So he jumped in, started a business, and actually eventually ended up starting multiple businesses. But he really set things up to support his lifestyle. So his passion is traveling. So the way this gentleman does it, he lives full-time in Costa Rica, which is a pretty nice place to live. And when he's in Costa Rica, he's focusing on his businesses. So he'll get in there, he'll check out his different companies, he'll rattle a cage, shake things up, start new projects, make sure that things are on track, perhaps start a new business, just get things really rolling, and assign and delegate different tasks to his different managers. Then what he does, he and his wife take several significant trips every year. Now I'm talking 2, 3, 4 months at a time. And this guy doesn't travel like the rest of us travel. He's got a very specific way of doing it. So he has everything set up so that when he's on the road, he is not checking email. He's not getting phone calls about business. He has nothing to do with any of his business activities when he's traveling, unless it's literally a life or death situation. So when he's on the road, when he's traveling, he's completely recharging his batteries. He's completely focused on that. Now, he's got it set up quite nicely. He's got a 1957 Rolls Royce that he has kept in London. So he has this car there. It gets parked in a special garage, gets maintained by the Rolls Royce guys. And then when he and his wife are ready to take one of these trips, he has his Rolls Royce shipped to the country ahead of him. He and his wife fly in, get in the car, tour around the country. At the end of their trip, or wherever the heck they're going, at the end of the trip, they drive the car to the docks, ship it off back to London to get babysat until their next trip, and they fly back to Costa Rica. That is how he has set up his life and how he's set up his businesses to support his lifestyle. Now, you and I probably don't want to do that kind of a thing. However, we do have to sit back and remember, why did we get into business for ourselves in the first place? It's for that freedom. So if you can't do it like that, there is something that you can do. And that is to start taking a little bit of time off once in a while and doing exactly what you want to do, and have things set up so that it can run, your business can run for at least an afternoon or two without you. That's your business breakthrough for this week. All right, for today's real estate tip, I want to show you an example of massive action. So a lot of times people say, oh, Dave, that's pretty cool. You did 18 flips in 18 months. And I used to like to give myself a little pat on the back. I thought I was pretty hot stuff for doing that. Well, I just recently interviewed a gentleman, a new friend named Melvin Yates, who's actually based out of the Washington, D.C. area in the States. I met Melvin at a recent James Malinchak event that I attended in December. He actually looked me up. We got together, had a few drinks, and just shared stories because he's doing rent-to-own real estate investing, amongst other things, around Washington, D.C. So I interviewed him recently for Canadian Real Estate Profits, and it blew my mind when he told me how he got started in real estate investing back in 06, 07 around Washington. He took some courses, jumped in with both feet, and he actually did 20 wholesale deals, getting him anywhere between $2,500 and $25,000 in finder's fees. He did 20 of those deals in the first quarter of the year, in the first 90 days of the year when he got started with that. 20 deals in 90 days. So that completely puts me, and pretty much almost anybody else I know, to shame as far as taking action. So, and how did he do it? Well, he didn't get into all the details, but a lot of it was really old school stuff, including bandit signs, tear tab signs, business card stuff. It wasn't a lot of online tricky type stuff. It was down and dirty, basic marketing and advertising. So what I really like about going to some of these events down in the States and meeting people like that is seeing how aggressive our American friends can be. So this guy's just the nicest guy in the world, but he's one of these guys, he grabs onto something and just really, really, really runs with it, which is a lesson that I think us more reserved Canadians can really take to heart up here in good old Canada. So is that something that can just happen in the States? No, I don't think so. Is it easier in the States? In certain ways, yes. In certain ways, no. But I asked him, okay, Melvin, how many direct competitors do you think you have in your market? So well, I'm not sure, but probably somewhere between 150 and 200 direct competitors. So it's not like he's the only guy trying to do this stuff. So anyhow, that's your real estate tip for this week. Massive action and a little glimpse of what is possible. All right, so for this week's Mindset Minute, I just want to step back and kind of help us to get a little bit of perspective about our businesses, our real estate investing, and our lives. I was shocked to hear recently about an acquaintance of mine, a very, very successful investor, a little bit older gentleman, probably close to 60 years old, and he'd made a lot of money over his lifetime. He'd done a lot of different deals. He was doing very, very well. And then some of his more recent investments or projects went sideways. Something happened with partners. I'm not sure exactly what the details are. But basically, long and the short of it is he lost everything. And his way of dealing with that was, unfortunately, he took a gun, put it to his head, and pulled the trigger and killed himself. So he left his wife, he left his adult children, he left his grandchildren without their husband, father, grandfather, all because he felt like a complete failure when it came to business and investing. Now, the challenge is, a lot of us, especially self-employed people and real estate investors, we get so involved with our businesses. It becomes such a huge part of who we are or who we think we are that we lose perspective. I would hope that if you or I, heaven forbid, we lose it all at some point, you keep that in perspective, that you are not your business, you are not your financial statement, you are not all about the money. There's so much more to life than just chasing after the buck. So trying to keep it in perspective. It's hard to do sometimes, but I definitely try to do it from time to time, and I suggest you do as well. All right, well, thanks very much for tuning in to this week's episode of Canadian Profits TV. What's going on this week? Well, I'm running around with Wagner and Tracy and everybody getting last minute details organized for our upcoming R2O Profits Summit, which is happening this weekend. So we're pretty much very close to capacity already for that. If you're a current R2O student and you haven't made the decision, there are a few spots left. So do what you need to do to become part of that program. It's going to be a lot of fun, that's for sure. So that's what we're focusing on this week. I'm playing Mr. Mom. My lovely wife Susie is actually down in Costa Rica for 7 weeks. Poor girl, down in Costa Rica in the middle of winter for 7 weeks. Anyhow, she hasn't been down there for a few years. Needs to see family and friends, get reconnected, taking a course down there, doing all sorts of different stuff. So we miss her a lot, but I get to be Mr. Mom, which is a lot of fun as well. What else is going on? Just a reminder, March 30th through April 6th is our annual Diamond Getaway. This year we're doing something completely different, completely new, and that is a Caribbean cruise. So if you currently are a Diamond member, I'd love to have you come out on this cruise with us. This is open to Diamond members and their friends and their family. So if you're a Diamond member, check it out at diamondcruise.ca just to get a little bit of a taste of what we're going to be looking for. If you're not currently a Diamond member, well, you sure as heck should be. So you can check out what's involved with taking a test drive of that at canadianprofitsdiamond.ca. Thank you very much for tuning in. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.